Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 148 of D&D Discussions, the podcast for players and DMs alike, where we talk to... Oh, God. Restart. We gotta restart.
No, we're not restarting. No, push through. This is a new year. We've got to do this.
Oh, God.
I'm not cutting this out. This is going in the beginning.
Oh, boy. It's a new year, isn't it?
Yeah, we're a little rusty. We're getting back into the swing of things. So
let's try this again.
You know what?
Let's try this again. We're gonna go ad read. Take it from the top.
No, I'm doing it. Okay. Hello, everyone,
Okay,
and welcome to D&D Discussions, the podcast for players and DMs alike, where we cover a wide variety of topics to help you with your games. He's your host, Ryan Reeder, and with him is me, his partner in crime, Ben Bumhofer. How am I doing? I'm doing pretty great. I'm very happy to be back and here and talking to you, Ryan. How are you?
Oh, God. It's oh, I have been looking forward to getting back to Dean Discussions for months now, but it has been a few months. It has been a few months. Or it feels like it has been a few months. I guess we technically did an episode in December, which really wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
but
this month has been a long year so far. So
yeah, this month has been an extremely long year. But oh boy, cool, awesome. This is why Ben is here for when my brain just farts.
It's the most professional start to the show that we've ever had.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes.
Welcome to 2026.
We're just dusting off some cobwebs. Don't mind us. We're getting through this.
Oh, God. We got a lot of stuff. Turns out, even when we're not podcasting, things still happen.
I mean, crazy concept.
It's wild. So now we got to play catch up a little bit. But there's a lot of really, really fun stuff to catch up on, a lot of really, really good news. And I'm excited because I'm going to talk a little bit about the cool RPG weekend that I got to take part in here in a little bit. So lots of fun learnings, lots of fun games from that. So let's dive in. First, with the 2025 D&D Beyond wrap up. This was basically just kind of a post on some of the things they got done, what has been released in 2025. The localized SRD 521 is available now. There's a new D&D Beyond homepage that came out December 11th. There is new art and handout reveals and maps that came out on December 16th, which is super cool. There was a My Library overhaul that came out on December 17th, which is actually very handy because you can sort by like source books you own and you don't. Wild concept, I know.
I will just say this. There were some things showing up saying that I didn't own them that I'm pretty sure I did. So it's... I figure if it says I need to buy it, but I can click in it and read the whole book, I own it. So maybe they're still working on a couple bugs there or something, or maybe my API didn't update or something. But there's
bound to be bugs. This is, as we've talked about many times, I'm fairly positive. And I think way back when we talked to Adam, who used to run D&D Beyond, where he was talking about, spaghetti code and just a very, very complicated, complex back end. They did answer some questions about that in the AMA that we're going to talk about here in a second. So good news on that front. They did delay a few maps things into this year. They delayed the 3D dice rolling in maps. They delayed the rules assistant to early 2026 as well, which is basically a searchable encyclopedia housed right within maps to be able to search for stuff quickly. And then the campaign console, which has moved to a TBD. Based on our own internal feedback, we realized the original concept didn't solve enough DM pain points. The team has shifted focus to a broader, more flexible campaign tool to solve more DM needs. So that's really good. And then finally, they kind of wrapped things up with a AMA on Reddit with D&D Beyond executive producer Brian Perry, and he answered quite a few questions that people had just about D&D Beyond in general. And Ben, you can go ahead and say it. We'll talk about a few of these specifically, but what was kind of one of the main
Yeah.
takeaways?
So, pre-show we were talking, and I'm like, "Hey, I've got the answer to every question that they could possibly have on the AMA, and that is that the D&D Beyond back end is getting completely redone and reworked." Which, as we just talked about, it was previously made of spaghetti code. So this is, just kind of really updating and adding a lot more infrastructure into the whole system to be able to make a lot of these changes or updates or things that we have been talking about or wanting, as well as other things that have been going on through D&D Beyond, other topics or ideas that have been brought up on the AMA and things like that. So I mean, we're going to kind of go through this pretty fast, but keep in mind 90% of the questions are going to be answered with we're rebuilding the back end. And you know, that is as good of an answer as anything, because it's really giving an idea of, how complex this system actually can go if you have the proper support for it to begin with. So them kind of, restructuring and redoing it all from essentially the ground up means that it's going to be, easier for them to implement new things. It's going to be able to, have all these, upgrades and accessories and things like that added as they're developing things. And overall, like, it's actually pretty fantastic, and I am super excited for a lot of the stuff that they've been talking about, how they can work on or incorporate, and or is involved with the changes on the back end.
Yeah, they're basically pulling a demi-plane
Hmm.
in some ways because I mean that's the thing Adam Bradford went to after D&D Beyond, that startup, and he took all the learnings from D&D Beyond and they set up a much better back end to where now they actually have this kind of skeleton system in the back that they can just hang these different games on and then tweak them to fit within the type of game. So they have been able to roll out like character creator and campaign tools for like a dozen different systems in a much quicker time than D&D Beyond has been able to fully officially support its own content.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. This is the thing we've literally been harping about on here for the last 2 years as something that is needed. And so it was really nice to hear them say like the core underlying issue is the back end for game data and game rules. We have started to rebuild.
Yeah.
Getting through that will take time, but it's what will unlock the ability to support many more D&D rules not currently supported on D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
So that's a really big thing.
Yeah, and
Um,
this AMA has brought a lot of excitement to a lot of things, and I mean,
yeah,
I don't want to, brag, but I know someone who actually had two answers, or two questions answered on this AMA, and I mean, I'm pretty starstruck because Ryan, you were able to get some questions in.
did I did I was I was early. I was early to the question thread, and I was able to get a few things talked about, which is super cool. One of the things they talked about, which was actually a third question I had asked, but was answered through somebody else's thing, was kind of goals for third party support.
Hmm.
Because as we know, last year was a fairly decent sized year for third party content on D&D Beyond to an extent. Again, it's one of those things where it's probably hard for them to support certain things because their back end just kind of sucks in it as it is. So with this rebuild, my hope is more high quality third party content will come and be fully integrated because they talked about, great partnerships that'll continue with about as many third party partner releases planned for 2026 as for 2025. I can say that we have a great team who evaluates partnered 5e content across multiple criteria to ensure players have a wider mix of 5e content styles that are playable in D&D Beyond's tools, which is again very exciting. Especially custom classes, which is one of the biggest things missing. They have added actually one or two, though there are certain parts of them obviously that just do not fully work within D&D Beyond.
Hmm.
But I would love to see the rest of the MCDM classes join the Ill Rigor. There's several really good third party supplements that have full classes like the Witch. Um, Kobold Press has a few of them. Um, One of my favorites, like the Tome of Magical Tattoos series, has two really cool classes in that all revolve around magical tattoos. So I'm hoping to see more of that as this back end rework comes to
Hmm.
fruition.
Yeah, and I mean, if they're making it more simple for them to be able to, add more content like that, um, that also could potentially open up the possibility of them, really introducing a lot more classes themselves too. I mean, if you look at it, the first step being third party stuff. I mean, and by the way, this hasn't been confirmed through the AMA or anything, but if you look at them being able to easily bring in third party content, that means that they can easily bring in their own content. So maybe.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's just me
Um,
brainstorming. Don't take it, to heart.
yeah. One of the things I asked was about the homebrew system because it is very user unfriendly to say the least. Um, so I was asking if there's more user friendly walkthrough creator tutorial guided full custom class creation, etc. And the Brian did say our first priority is easing the player and DM experience. Tech is all about trade-offs. We're not happy with the current homebrewing experience on the site. Neither am I, Brian. And we'll be making progress towards improving that over time. Right now, the team is talking about starting with monsters, which is where homebrewing is used most often day to day, which is very exciting because that
Yes.
is true. I most of my homebrew creations are monsters,
Yeah.
followed second by items,
Yep.
probably.
Items is probably more for me, just because I just basically I'll just copy a monster and then reskin it half the time. But yeah, I mean, even that can be a pain though because there's so much that you have to do and like kind of like recode as well. So like I'm thinking that as soon as this comes in, I'm gonna just jump in there and be like, I'm making new monsters. And the best part is if it'll calculate CR for you, so you know if you're just overly killing your party with a certain thing or not. I think that'll be very helpful if they can incorporate that.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. There's a lot that they can do to make those types of things much more user friendly for monster, for item, for subclass creation. Um, so that's all pretty exciting stuff. They Someone also asked about a la carte purchases. That was a real pain point for a while because people didn't know exactly why that went away because a lot of people did like that.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "We know that a la carte disappeared without much notice, and we apologize for the way it was handled. Things like this AMA help create the level of transparency the community deserves. We are going to be working on ways to give players access to smaller packages of content based on what character they want to build. A la carte, exactly like before, is unlikely. What was starting to happen was tens of thousands of items needed to be individually checked for entitlements by our services, and this was impacting site speed and stability."
That's the
So
kind
it's
of
nice
Yeah,
to
that's the
get an
kind of
official
transparency.
explanation. Yeah,
Exactly.
because that's something that I think it would have gone down a lot better if that had come out at the same time. Just like the way the system's built, like it's literally destroying our website.
Yeah. And I mean, to be honest, when that went away, like you and I each thought, well, don't they want to like print money? Because a la carte is kind of a way to do that. And we weren't looking at the actual technical side of everything. We're just looking at the business side, which it's kind of refreshing that a decision was made not by the business side, but as a restriction for the tech that they had. You know,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, very very nice. Let's see. Any of the other big ones? I know the other one I believe I asked. The encounter builder. This was a pretty big one. Because right now there's two encounter builders. There's the one in maps, which is for 2024, and there's the one on the site that's in beta that is for 2014. And so I asked, when will we see the encounter builder finally move out of beta and be updated and integrated into the main site? I love what you're doing in maps, but for those of us who don't use the VTT and just use the encounter designer and run combats with the encounter combat tool, it'd be nice to be fully updated in the standalone app too, so we didn't have to use it within maps. Um, so he actually said we currently have, and sorry, I know this is confusing, two encounter builders. There's one that has been in beta for years you're referring to, and there's a new one currently in the maps. This new one will continue to add functionality and make it more accessible across the site to suit your needs. How we merge the streams in the future is still under discussion. So this is really good news that the encounter builder in maps will eventually be making it outside of maps, because as awesome as maps is becoming, if you play in person, then you really maps is a little clunky just to run encounters.
Mhm.
Um, and that encounter builder is actually honestly works super well and has for quite a while. So I'm glad to hear that they'll be kind of merging and making that accessible. Hopefully updating it functionality and making it accessible across the site rather than just being in maps.
Yeah. One thing that we did pass that I just want to kind of throw in there. It was one of those questions where someone's like question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just very quick shot. They asked about if they could get a better text editor implemented into the notes and background section of the character sheet for easier formatting. Um, Brian's
Oh
response
God, that would be
was,
so nice.
yeah, his response was, "We plan to rebuild our character sheet experience." So like that right there is just they're planning on rebuilding it from the get go. And then again, something that we've seen definitely, near the end of last year, moving into this year, is they're really listening to feedback. So the second part of his answer is, I'd love your opinion on what you would like to use the better formatting for on your character sheet. So, you know, they're asking follow-up questions, they're trying to get ideas, they're really trying to reach out to the player base to, I mean, an AMA is essentially reaching out to the player base in the first place, but to get support and ideas and stuff. So I just wanted to just do a quick call out on that of yay for updated character sheets, especially if we can edit them way better in the notes section. Cause yeah, it's not great.
Any of the text editors in the character sheet are just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
They're just flat out terrible.
Yeah.
So having even like just a real like rich text editor inside the the larger text fields would be a massive improvement.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely massive. Um there's a few people that asked about, filtering, like showing only unowned content in marketplace. That seems like a pretty no-brainer, that he was just like, there's several people that mentioned this. I should probably talk to the team about
Yeah.
it.
And
It's like, yeah,
the funny
sounds
thing
good.
is, I went to the marketplace to see, and yeah, you can filter out what you own, or at least in your library, you can filter out what you own, not what you don't own. I mean, it just kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And speaking of that, just from the library itself, they did rebuild that into a personalized like library
mhm.
experience. So now you can actually at a glance browse owned and shared content, books you personally own, favorited sources for quick access, and then all sources, including free content when logged out. You can save books you're interested in by clicking the heart icon to wish list. And then there's new filtering and sorting tools. Rule set, you can filter by 2024, 2014, or view all. You can narrow results to adventures or source books, and you can view content from all publishers, official releases, or partnered publishers. So they've brought in a lot of the filtering system into it, and it has been the few times I've had to use it since then, it has definitely been helpful.
Yeah. Another couple just, small things that as stupid as they really speak to me. Able to use different dice sets that I own for different characters and not just have one dice set
Mm,
for everything I roll.
that's a big one. When I was playing, especially during COVID, when I was playing in multiple campaigns,
Mm-hmm.
multiple characters, you bet I had to freaking switch the dice every single time I
Exactly.
played a different character because those sanguine dice were just not correct for my paladin.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, hey, the dragon dice I'm using not exactly great for this or for this non-dragonborn character, or anything along those lines. And I have so many digital dice sets from just being subscribed as a DM, the master tier or whatever, that I'd like to kind of flex and use some of them and have fun with it. But unfortunately, it's like, oh well, this one that I used in a one shot 2 weeks ago is what I'm using for this, and it just doesn't look right and it doesn't feel right. I buy physical dice for every new character that I'm going to be playing, and I would like to be able to do the same with these characters. I think it just makes sense. But then on top of that, able to customize creatures a bit like before the encounter so that you don't have to actually just create a brand new monster for it. That's something that they have ideas on and everything. And then also adding layer actions to maps in the encounter, which I think is actually a really good idea to kind of keep that in the initiative tracker, keep that in there so that you are able to have a pop-up that says, hey, this is what happens, it's between these ones, or whatever. And I think that that's actually a fantastic extra little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll link this whole AMA. And there's a great little tab that you can click on to just filter the answered questions in the AMA thread. So we'll have that in the show notes on dndiscussions.com if you want to go check out and read through all the stuff more in depth. Like Ben said, a lot of a lot of it does come down to we are redoing the back end. So hopefully this time uh, uh, or the time of the AMA, November, December of this year, we'll be able to talk about and see some of the fruits of this labor as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Um,
Overall, like I said, even though the they had the same answer for a lot of those questions, which again, also a good answer, they really did their best to give all the information that they could to, really answer and, shine a light on a lot of the stuff that's going on. So, good on
I thought
them
it was good.
for it. Yeah.
I hope they do it more often.
Me too.
Yeah, I
Me
hope
too.
they do it more often. There was even one where someone talked about because the Adam used to do like the dev streams.
Hmm.
They used to do all the dev streams. It kind of just slowly disappeared after a while, especially once he left. So they had he said they were talking about potentially starting those back up, maybe doing something quarterly or something like that, which would be nice. It would
Yeah.
be nice to see something like this a little more often than like once a year.
Exactly.
Um, and speaking of feedback, we also wanted to link in the show notes on deandiscussions.com. They have a little the road ahead, our journey to improve the maps VTT. So if you use the maps virtual tabletop on D&D Beyond, you can actually fill out a survey now to indicate your interest in joining their feedback program for maps. They said specifically the next few months will be DM focused. So if you're a DM, they really are encouraging people to sign up for that. So if you play online, if you use the Maps VTT on D&D Beyond, or are a D&D Beyond user and are thinking about doing that, you can fill out this survey to show your interest in joining that feedback program.
Hmm.
Okay, moving on from that just a little bit. We're going to take a slight detour to the Game Awards for 2025, where a surprise D&D game was announced. It's called Warlock Dungeons and Dragons, an action adventure title with a player taking on the role of a warlock spellcaster who uses their eldritch magic to solve challenges and take down monsters. Developed by Invoke Studios, which is currently owned by Wizards, who previously developed the Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance game. They're aiming to deliver something very different from Baldur's Gate 3, focusing less on realistic simulation of D&D and more just on a single character in class. So there's really that we don't know a ton about it. We do know there's a bunch of D&D games in the works right now from several different studios. We don't know much about them. This one was like the trailer. There's a trailer for it that you can watch. Wasn't heavy on like gameplay or anything like that, but it's apparently going to be coming out sometime in 2027, and the full gameplay reveal will be planned for summer of 26. So if that's the type of game you're interested in, it's cool that they're starting to branch out a little bit. I'm definitely intrigued. We'll be keeping my eye on it for sure, just to see how it goes because the world and lore are very interesting, and if they can deliver a high quality game that's a lot of fun, kind of action based, I would certainly give it a look.
Yeah. And on top of that too, it's going to be very different than Baldur's Gate if that's what you're, kind of expecting since it is, kind of more of an action-y adventure kind of thing. But also on top of that, I'm excited because Trisha Helfer is the voice of the protagonist, and she's done, some great work. Especially voice work as Edie in my one of my favorite gaming series of all time, which is Mass Effect. So she's definitely got voice acting chops in there, and who knows if they're also going to use her for like performance capture or anything like that. I mean, I don't know, but regardless, it could be something really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out, and especially once they have that like gameplay trailer, because
Yeah,
until that, you
I
never really know what kind of a game is based off of the trailer.
exactly, and I'm a big Battlestar fan, so
Yeah.
yeah, that they cast a good person.
Yep. So say we all.
She's awesome. So say we all. Okay, moving on a little bit back to Wizards of the Coast themselves in the D&D franchise. It turns out that in this quiet month and a half, a lot of stuff happened like team-wise at Wizards. Uh a lot of this was announced via social media or just through different podcasts and stuff. But so Justice Arman, who was one of our first guests on this show, who went on to work at Wizards as a designer for D&D, posted he's happy to share that he's stepping into the role of game design director for Dungeons and Dragons tabletop game. Um, He's been trusted to lead a spectrum of play experiences, returning to beloved campaign settings, classic adventures reimagined for the current edition, and 2 box sets designed to welcome new and returning players alike to a game I cherish deeply. So this is a pretty big deal. Obviously, we know that Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins left Wizards,
Mhm.
and are now over on the Darrington side of things. And a few of the older or very tenured D&D people have left over the last 2 or 3 years, which has kind of left a hole in a lot of the team space. Like there's a few who are still there who are very long term people, but um Justice stepping up as the actual game design director for D&D. Like this, he is the person who could potentially over time lead whatever 6th edition might end up being,
Yeah.
which is a really big deal. Justice is super awesome. I'm so excited for him, and I'm excited for the game. And not only that, there's been a slew of hiring, and I wonder if this is almost kind of Justice bringing on his own team or a lot of his own team now that he stepped into this design director role. But James Hake has been hired just a few weeks ago, actually. They worked at Ghostfire Gaming for quite some time. They have contributed to many official D&D books as well, um, and have also worked for some large third-party publishers, Kobold, I believe, MCDM,
Hmm.
and then obviously most recently Ghostfire. They were the lead designer on Call of the Netherdeep, which was the Critical Role campaign book, and contributed to Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus, and Waterdeep Dragon Heist. So, very storied. I've been following James for a long time, and they are an awesome designer, and I'm very excited that they are going to be joining that team. That's going to be a really big deal. So that's number one. Number two, so and I'm gonna butcher their last name, Ben. I've been following Leon for a while. Leon
Borelio?
Borelio.
Borellaro? Oh wait,
Borelio.
Baralario. Baralario. It's actually phonetically spelled in their profile.
Baralero.
Baralero. Laro? Yeah, because I want to say layer.
Baralero.
You know what? We're
Baralero.
just going to spend the next 5 minutes figuring this out.
Their
Very
last
sorry,
name
Leon.
doesn't matter.
Very,
Their
very
last name
sorry.
doesn't matter. Their last name doesn't matter. What matters is their wonderful body of work. So Leon was also recently hired over this last like month or two time period, and they have also have a very storied history on DM's Guild products. They've done a lot of work for MCDM, a lot of just like spin-off small RPGs that have just been made, like going through their portfolio. Like Oh Captain was their self-published role-playing game. Like I said, they've worked with MCDM before, and I'm sure have freelanced on several other things. I know there's some DM's Guild stuff as well. So this is another really big deal. Like I said, I think it feels like this is Justice bringing in people that he has worked with over the years and that are very like up and comers, and have really kind of cut their teeth in some of these third party things, and now they're joining the D&D team, which is awesome. And then if that weren't enough, there's a third. Aaron Roberts. Uh she is an award-winning uh game designer who's worked for a variety of publishers in the TTRPG sphere. Um Contributed to Journeys to the Radiant Citadel, which both of us really love on here. And just some Dragon Delved anthology stuff. Worked on a children's audiobook called D&D Forge Your Own Quest. So I mean, there's it's a lot of it's new blood.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of new blood coming into Wizards to tackle this next decade of 5th edition, and then likely beyond that to whatever comes next, right?
Exactly.
And so it's very exciting to see, because honestly, if you think about it, most of what we will see from them, we won't see probably for another year or more, just because of how the pipeline and the backlog works. Like the stuff we see this year, I mean, I'm sure Justice will have been on this, but like Aaron, James, Leon, those projects probably we won't see till the end of the year or sometime next year. So it'll be really interesting to see if there is kind of a design philosophy change, like a book philosophy change, whatever. Obviously, there's still some people who've been there for a while, but this is a
Yeah.
lot of new blood. This is a
Yeah.
lot of
And
new people
and
joining Mackenzie and some of the others who are already there.
And the best part too is that every time you bring in someone new, you have a new perspective on things. Especially with just the big kind of diversity that is going into a lot of the game design at Wizards right now. And I am really looking forward to this. When Justice was working on the Radiant Citadel, that's something that he really kind of pushed for, to bring different ideas, different viewpoints in to the game design, and for different settings and everything like that. So like more than anything, yeah, anything that is like old content that's kind of being brought forward and stuff like that, with new ideas, new spaces and stuff, is going to be great. But I'm just looking forward to just all the new things that are potentially down the road and coming, because of this group of people who are obviously very well versed in the gaming scene already, but bringing all that into D&D is just, it's got me really excited for all this new stuff. I can't wait for it. And you know what? Justice is like truly building the Voltron of game design, which is
And
going to be really great.
that's why, that's why the OGL thing back in the day was such a big deal. That's
Hmm.
why D&D being Creative Commons and the SRD being Creative Commons is such a big deal. Third party publishers are a huge deal for games like this, because the DMs Guild, third parties, they cultivate talent that can then move into these roles. If you do not have that, if you have a very restrictive ecosystem for your third parties, or for the game itself, or adding content to it, you are choking off your future employees in a lot of
Hmm.
ways, your future designers for your game. So it's incredibly important that D&D and any sort of like TTRPG that wants to, grow and have people create content for it, not be restrictive about it, at least, to whatever point makes sense, because those are the designers, and these are the people, and these are the companies that you will be able to use. It's just like baseball, right?
Yeah.
You have your farm teams and then you get called up to the majors. It's the same type of thing. It's really fun to watch those like double A teams. In fact, some of like, I normally am not a baseball person, but sometimes those double A teams can be really fun to go watch. The food is cheap, the tickets are cheap. It's usually a fun atmosphere. They have little events and stuff like that. And then those are the players who do well, get practice, and then are called up to the major leagues, right?
Hmm.
And it's the exact same thing here. There's so many good third party publishers doing really good content, and Wizards is looking at that and going, "Oh, okay, those people are great. We need them."
Yep. Exactly. And it just, it talks about it really demonstrates that they're focusing on creativity, they're focusing on growth, they're focusing on the future, as opposed to just trying to hang on to you know old concepts, old ideas, and just kind of just revamp everything over and over again. It's growth forward, which is what I'm very, very positive about.
Yeah. But we are what we are not positive about is anything coming out this year.
Well,
As of this recording,
let's put
there
it
has
this way:
literally been 0 announcements.
we would be positive if there was something announced. But
I mean,
yeah.
we have there's obviously there's a lot of breadcrumbs, right? There was a
Hmm.
lot of unearthed arcana. Last year we had the Scion class unearthed arcana. Um, there seems to be a lot of things pointing towards that more uh Dark Sun.
Yeah, Dark Sun.
Yeah, Dark Sun campaign setting. There seems to be a lot pointing towards that, or potential revamp of that. We're going to talk about it soon here in a second, but they just literally just a few days ago, released a designer insights for a brand new Unarched Arcana called Mystic Subclasses. So there's definitely little hints, little breadcrumbs here and there, but as of right now, as of this recording, there has been no official announcements of what is coming for D&D in 2026. And honestly, that's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Like I don't know like because I feel like we've been spoiled the last few years because they've really like announced a bunch of stuff fairly early or announced big chunks of things. Like here's the next 2 or 3 quarters worth of stuff, or here's kind of what we're working on for the next year, and then maybe there's a surprise or two kind of along the way. And maybe this has to do with so much changing of the guard over on the D&D side at Wizards. But as of right now, we actually do not have anything officially announced.
That being said, we are cursed because whenever we record the show, usually the next day something is announced.
It's so true. It's so true.
So look for
So
that announcement tomorrow.
yeah, I was gonna say I'm just expecting an announcement of something this week now.
Yeah. I mean, if it happens, then we truly are cursed. But I mean, it's a blessing at the same time because new stuff. If it doesn't show up this week, then you know what? We're probably getting something soon because you can't let a whole quarter of a year go by without any sort of news on, Dungeons
I
and
would
Dragons and new books and stuff.
I would be really surprised if we got out of January or at the very least mid-February without something
Yeah,
getting announced.
exactly. I mean,
That would kind of blow my mind a bit.
if anything, maybe we'll have some sort of love theme one shot free adventure for Valentine's Day. That's something at least.
Yeah, the something. Or maybe we'll get some more third-party stuff
Yeah.
dropping.
Oh, I'm
The
sure
the
we
nice
will.
thing about the third-party stuff is they can start using that now to drop between official releases,
Hmm.
which is will probably, and I would assume they'll do this because it seems like the smart thing to do. It makes it so you don't have any like content droughts. You can be like, okay, we got 4 or 5 third-party releases coming this year. Here's our official release schedule. Let's drop them in the midpoints, so that there's no massive like spans of time without anything.
Sadly, because of third party stuff, I no longer am able to afford and get everything that's on D&D Beyond. So now I have holes in my collection, which makes me really sad. But at the same time,
For the OCD collector,
yeah,
it is a little rough
yeah.
because in the exact same way, it's
It's
like
like,
I can't get everything.
walking into your local game store and being like, oh, I don't have this one or that one or that one or that one. Ah. So, just I have to look at it the same way. I don't have a full library because I can't afford a full library. And there's nothing wrong
Yeah,
with
and
that.
nothing wrong with that. That's what sales are for.
Yeah. And besides, in all honesty, not everything that is released third party wise is my cup of tea.
Yeah,
So it's
not
a
everything
lot
is
easier.
applicable anymore, and
Yeah.
that's how it should be, right?
Yep.
Like there's
Exactly.
going to be some things and that's what you design for. Like
Hmm.
you can certainly design for a like one size fits all, but usually it will have to be watered down in some way.
Yeah.
And especially with the breadth and depth of third party content and the amount of time that fifth edition has been out at this point and the audience size, you don't really need to make something for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Exactly. Like, I don't want to have Eldritch Horrors in my happy Animal Crossing themed adventure, which, I mean, I kind of want to do that now. Not at the Eldritch Horrors, I mean, but have an Animal Crossing themed adventure. That could be fun.
Yeah. If you want an Animal Crossing themed adventure, you just go for Humblewood.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Which
maybe I
I
don't
do
want
have.
little anthropomorphic like mice or whatever in my Eldritch Horror campaign. So
Exactly. That's how it all works.
yeah, yeah. But let's jump in real fast and talk about some of these. Just kind of go over. Obviously, we'll have the document linked. It's not a super long one. I think it's only like six or 7 pages.
Hmm.
Um, this time around, so it's not a super long read. But we'll just kind of go over these subclasses a little bit. These are all brand new to fifth edition.
Yes. Yes.
So this playtester is introducing four subclasses that explore new ways to wield, counter, steal, and bargain with magic. The Warrior of the Mystic Arts Monk, the Oath of the Spellguard Paladin, the Magic Stealer Rogue, and the Vestige Patron Warlock. So Ben, why don't we start with what's up with the Warrior of the Mystic Arts?
Yeah, it's, a spellcasting monk, which I mean, we kind of had a little bit with the element bending kind of monk, but this one will have like specific spellcasting to it. With I'm One of the things that I always have a hard time with is any sort of spellcaster that's also like dual role with something, because then you're starting to look at, okay, well, what's their stat? Okay, well, their spellcasting stat is this, while their other main stat is this. Like if you look at paladins, strength and charisma are like kind of two big high stats that you really want in order to hit hard with spells as well as your weapon if you're going, that route. Well, with the monk or the mystic arts monk, we're also looking at wisdom and, of course, dexterity, because monks are dex based. But you want to have a high wisdom for your spells as well, because otherwise you're just not going to hit as hard or as often, or any sort of like DC that you need to go against is kind of there. The thing though is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but monks usually have like wisdom as some of their saving throws
Hmm.
already. So in that sense, it's got some good synergy with it.
Yeah,
Whereas,
yeah.
other classes definitely would have kind of a harder time with. So I'm kind of happy that they worked it in that way. Because it makes more sense. And one of the big draws of this, well, not big draws, but one of the kind of the big features of this is that you're able to use essentially like sorcery points as your focus points. And you're able to spend focus points to get spell slots back. You're able to spend spell slots to get focus points back, and kind of do like a swap back and forth between them, which I think is a kind of a cool concept with this. So
Yeah, no, I agree. Um, Looking through as a quick looking through the like the features, and I will say I think this is a problem with um most of these four spell or subclasses. I feel like they're a little mechanics light. I
mm-hmm.
feel like they could use some more uniqueness. I like all the themes. I think all the themes are actually very good.
Yeah.
Um, but I think there needs to be deeper, more interesting, more fleshed out mechanics for all four of these, honestly. Um, and I think again we're over a decade into fifth edition. I feel like we are at the point where as designers, I want to see them start taking bigger swings. I want to see um crazier stuff. Like I want to see more unique stuff. I want to see more out of the box stuff. Uh Sometimes some of the stuff we see from third parties. I want to see more of that type of thing. We talked about this with a little bit with the Scion Unearthed Arcana, where it's just like this is just kind of a caster
Yeah.
with like an extra dice. Like there's already examples out there of much more interesting, more unique psionic full class within the bounds of fifth edition. So I really want to see them take the bigger swings mechanically and just identity wise for these subclasses coming
Yeah,
out.
I mean, because I mean, if we just, I mean, we've only talked about the monk. Well, just look at the monk. At level 3, you get spell casting. Okay, at level 6, that's when you can do the swap with the spell slots to focus points and back and forth. Which it again, that's useful, but I mean, at this point, you're the whole jack of all trades, and not in the good bard way where you're half proficient in everything. It's more of a, okay, well, you're kind of not good at fighting or magic. You're kind of having to do one or the other. At Mystic File, your Mystic Fighting Style at level 6, you're just able to use one of your attacks. You can cast a cantrip instead. At level 11, if you use Flurry of Blows, Patient Defense, or Step of the Wind, then you have advantage on saving throws to save or to maintain concentration. Like, that's not a big deal. That's nothing.
It feel like just the very fact that it's 4 subclasses and it's only 6 pages long feels like that alone just points to this is very mechanically light.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, heck, even as written, and this was pointed out in the comments, the level 17 for the monk is actually worthless because it's improved Mystic Fighting Style. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace 2 of the attacks with a casting of one of your level 1 or level 2 sorcerer spells that has a casting time and an action. You only have 2 attacks as a monk at level 17.
Yep.
And so it's just saying you can just
cast your spell.
Cast a spell. Like I assume they meant replace 1 attack with a level 1
I would hope
or 2 spell.
Considering
because as
6
is
when you can do you can replace one with a cantrip.
Yeah. But again, still that is even not
it's not great.
Super amazing.
Yeah.
Not for 17.
No, definitely not.
Not for 17. So I mean, again, like I like the idea. I like the behind I think monk casting spells or being able to weave in spells, super cool. Execution, pretty meh.
Could be better.
Needs some beef up. Next we have the Oath of the Spellguard Paladin. This is named for the Spellguard shield item in the DM's guide that protects their allies while wielding specialized abilities to defeat spellcasting enemies. When a nearby enemy begins to cast a spell, you can respond with the iconic Spellguard Strike, not only inflicting damage, but also potentially negating the spell as it's being cast. And then it grants access to all the spells that bedevil spellcasters, dispel magic, see invisibility, and silence. The Paladin's aura of protection simultaneously helps allies maintain their spells at higher levels, defending them against spells and spell attacks. So I mean, again, this is another just like single pager. I love the fantasy behind it, like like an anti-caster,
like a
paladin.
mage hunter almost.
Yeah, almost more. Yeah, maybe mage. Well, I guess Spellguard.
Not hunter.
Yeah. I think the name works well.
There you go.
The name works well. Yeah. So I mean, you get your guardian bond. This one I think is cool. As a magic action, you spend 1 of your channel divinity to forge a divine bond with a willing creature within 5 feet of you. It lasts for an hour, and for the duration, the bonded creature, while the bonded creature is within your reach and is hit by an attack roll, you can take a reaction to add your charisma modifier to that creature's AC. That's kind of cool. I like that as a and more reaction type things are really cool as well, because again, that keeps people more honed in and tuned in combat when you need to be ready and watching for when you can use a reaction on somebody else. It's a little worthless at 5 feet.
Yeah.
Because that means that you're going to have to literally stick next to that person constantly. I would like to see that move out to, 10, 15, 30 feet, or even perhaps be the same size as your paladin aura or something like that, because then at least it would be 10 feet. But I do like the idea. And then, I mean, there's a few other things like Aura of Concentration. That one's kind of interesting, but also a lot of casters take Warcaster, which would make that completely worthless.
Yeah. And that's only within the aura, which is,
and again, it's only within the aura,
something like that.
So this one just feels very situational. You really have to be in the perfectly placed spot for your stuff to matter.
Yeah, like, I mean, as a reaction, I would think that you would be able to like extend your aura to someone if they're casting a spell and like are going to break concentration or something like that, or, you know, use a reaction to throw a shield on them from the attack, or, you know, something along those lines. Because if you really are guarding and stuff, you need to be able to be near the casters who are going to be on the back line in the first place.
Yeah, and that's why like the whole level 3 spell guard strike doesn't kind of make a ton of sense, because it's
Yeah.
like when you see a creature within your reach casting a spell, you can use your reaction to make a melee attack with a weapon or an unarmed strike against that creature. It's dualities. Like you're saying, oh, I need to be by my caster for them to get the benefits of my stuff, but I also need to be right next to the enemy caster to get the benefits of this spell guard strike, which also goes with the spell breaking blade, which helps
I've
you
got it.
matters.
You need to run around with a warrior of the mystic arts monk. Then there you go. Yeah, that they designed them in a pair, and that's just how it goes going forward.
Yeah, because normally your spellcaster is not going to be anywhere near the enemy spellcaster.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
very, very seldom
yeah.
will
You,
that
you
happen. You're
have to
going to mostly
decide.
be far away.
Yeah, you have to decide not to be that melee paladin. You have to be the casting type of paladin, which isn't a great, you know, like a great enough reason to choose that for, you know, your build. I
Yeah,
just,
this feels like super niche,
yeah.
super niche, and it also feels like even within itself, it's contradicting. Like
Mhm.
I want to be close to the enemy caster, but I really want to be close to my person, and half my stuff won't work if I'm near one or away from the other. So again, I like the idea of it, but mechanically, I think it's a little all over the place and a bit of a mess.
Yeah, exactly. Then we go to the Magic Stealer Rogue, which,
Which, why didn't they call it the Spell Stealer Rogue?
yeah,
I feel like that just rolls off the tongue a little better than
yeah.
Magic Stealer.
And I mean, basically, they absorb spells to empower their sneak attack. They can redirect magical power to an ally and like help recover spell slots. Um,
That's cool.
yeah, they have new uses for their cunning strike that'll, like, you know, steal resistance to certain things, disrupt spells, make targets vulnerable to different spells, and let's see, because Magic Stealer is bound to have many spellcasting enemies, this rogue can cast non-detection to slip past divinations and magical wards. Like, this is kind
I think
of,
this is my favorite of the
yeah,
four.
it's one that actually like seems to make more sense and gives more utility to the player than some of those other ones do. You know,
Especially like the level 3 drain magic. Like
mhm.
that's as a magic action, you can touch a willing creature and end one ongoing level 1 or level 2 spell on it. The creature immediately recovers one extended spell slot of level 2 or lower, the target's choice, and you can only use it once every short or long rest. But that's like, oh no, my paladin is
Is
got hold
confused.
person on him
Yeah.
or confused, yeah, or something. I can end that without a save. Boom, once per short
Mhm.
rest.
Or
Super cool.
on top of that too, let's say they have sleep on them, instead of smacking them to wake them up, you just take the magic. You know, just something simple like that.
And then you give them a level 2 slot back.
Yeah. Yeah,
Very cool.
or a polymorph. How great would that be? Yeah, just thinking out loud there. But
Well, polymorph wouldn't be level 1 or 2.
well, yeah, but you can end the polymorph, but still give a 1 or 2. You know, something that's like truly debilitating on them.
As a magic action, you can touch and
Oh
end
yeah,
an on.
ongoing
Yeah,
level 1 or
yeah,
level 2. Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
not as cool as I thought.
It improves a tiny bit at level 13. It
Yeah, it's a
lets you
level
end a level
3.
3. So again, I feel like maybe a little
Well,
underpowered still, especially for a once per short rest thing. Once
at
you hit 13,
at the same time though, you don't want to overpower that ability. So like I can kind of see why. I kind of get it. Because otherwise, you
it's
know,
a wild card, right?
yeah,
Because it's a once per combat at most thing.
true. And essentially it's kind of like having a legendary resistance for your party
Yeah, yeah.
if it's of a
In a
level.
way. Yeah, it's up a level. So again, there's some tweaks I think that need to be made. I don't know. You'd have to really play around with it to see if it's underpowered or not, or if like level there's 10 levels of difference between level 3 when you get it and level 13 when you improve it. Like that is a
That is true.
massive gap. Massive gap. So
I
I would
wonder.
love to see it improved a little more, or have it maybe improved again at level 9 as its own separate level 9 thing, and then again at 13.
I've got a guess. Hold on. Level 13. That's when the arcane trickster gets level 3 spells. That's why. I bet you they matched it up to that.
It's quite possible, but I don't think they necessarily should.
Well, then at level 19 they should be able to do level 4 spells because that's when they get at level 19 arcane trickster gets level 4. But anyways,
But
yeah,
yeah,
matching up that
so
way, maybe not.
I really like the idea behind this. I think this mechanically is a little more interesting than the other ones. But again, uh, I think all these have some scaling problems
Yeah, I
with
mean,
their subclasses that they really need to kind of work on.
and just going back to the Magic Stealer Rogue just one more time, the level 9 magical sabotage I think is probably the best ability thing out of all of these classes. That's when they get more cunning strike options. So the target has disadvantage on the next saving throw. Okay, that no big deal there. But disrupt spell, which is the target's magical acuity is disrupted until the start of your next turn. Whenever the target casts a spell during this time, it must succeed on an intelligence saving throw or the spell dissipates with no effect. And the action, bonus action, or reaction used to cast it is wasted. So basically, it's a kind of counter spell that, you know, that you're able to do just as your cunning action, which going up against some sort of caster or something that could be like hugely detrimental if you're not hitting those intelligence saving throws. Like that's a pretty powerful thing. So yeah. Also, you choose a kind of damage. If the target's resistant to that kind of damage, basically you steal that so that they're no longer resistant and you are.
Dude,
So
that's cool.
yeah, that is neat.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I
going
like
up
that a
against
lot. That
yeah.
is a good. That is like a mechanical, like swing and a hit
Mm-hmm.
type thing.
Yeah, so like level 9 for the Magic Stealer Rogue, best thing on this entire UA, I think.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. Very cool. Um, and then finally, Ben, we have the Warlock.
Yeah. Um, as I called it to you in our pre-show, it's the Find Familiar Warlock.
Find familiar Warlock. You're so right, though.
Yeah.
It's a pet Warlock. It's a pet Warlock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
You basically get a companion at level 3 that gets some spells, which is actually cool. It's the companion's definitely a little more built out than most companions, which I kind of like. Um, and it basically upgrades your companion as you go. But it is incredibly companion focused. So there's not a ton of improvements for the warlock themselves throughout this subclass. I don't know. Again, you'd have to play test it. I don't know if that will be detrimental or not.
mm-hmm.
But if you want like a pet class warlock, I think this will be probably pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean it could be because the thing is though, the warlocks do already have kind of a pet like available to them for any type of warlock because it's one of the what invocations like the invocation of the chain or something like that, but your companion isn't able to do as much. But I mean some of the things that are in here I don't know. I read the text on this and I'm just like, oh, okay. um let's see, where is it? About the companion, the vestige manifests aiding you to do and drawing strength from your pact. It uses the sap like the celestial fiend or undead. You choose it when you choose this feature. You determine what the vestige looks like, but regardless of its form, the vestige bears features indicating its supernatural origin. And then the example they give, I think, is just insane, like insanely detailed. For it's like, oh yeah, you could totally do this. For example, you might decide your vestige is an oversized floating skull etched with sigils, a circle of glowing runes, or a constantly shifting abstract shape. The vestige is friendly to you and your allies and obeys your commands. It vanishes if you die. I mean, sure, it could be a floating skull if you want. I
Yeah,
mean, if you could choose what it is, it's like first shot, floating skull. That's what I'm gonna do. So
I mean,
I just think
I
it's
feel
really
like that's
funny.
kind of classic. I just like the caster or the, warlock walking around with
I
this
mean,
like
it
flaming floating
it is
skull
literally the
next to
World of
him.
Warcraft warlock.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of.
So yeah, it's like okay, you
This
can have
did this did
look like
kind of feel
whatever.
like the warlock pet build
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally. Um,
from WoW in some ways.
what I will say that I'm very surprised about is that they don't have a Fey option, which I would think that
That is
that
interesting.
would be one of the like I mean, I think that would be a home run as an option in there, especially if you look at spoilers for season 2 of Critical Role or campaign 2, especially if you look at the Traveler. You know, it's an archfey who kind of lost power and is giving powers. I mean, granted, that's a cleric situation,
Hmm.
but like you see where I'm going with this. It totally makes sense that some powerful archfey would be punished and like banished to the material plane or something, and they're trying to
Power
get their
stripped
power
from them.
back. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and adding different stuff on top of that, for different spells or pact bonds and things that they can do. I really like. I would love to see that as part of this as well, because to me that's the first thing that came to mind of, oh, it should totally be a fae who had their power stripped away. And again, I could see in some sort of necrotic or fiend or celestial thing, the same thing happening. But I think Fae really fits in that whole like construct of this idea.
Yeah, I agree. Um, I would like to see the Vestige be able to do more.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's got some cool bonus actions, but you can only do it once a day until level 6 when uh it regains the use of its divine power on a shorter long rest, or when you use your magical cunning feature. Um it's just one of those things where it's just like, give me more to do. Give me a few more choices of what I can do. Its normal action is vested strike.
Yay.
Cool. Meh. Like, let's beep this up. Let's amp this up a little bit. Um, if you're focusing an entire subclass on this companion, make this companion fully formed,
Mm-hmm.
not just a little thing. Give it more abilities as it levels up, right? Give it a few more abilities that it can use, just period. Because if most of the subclass is going to be around building this companion up and allowing them to do more stuff uh, as you go, give them more cool things. I mean, level 14, you can do a summon celestial, summon fiend, or summon undead spell to kind of like manifest it. And the statistics are replaced by the summon creature stat block. Um, but again, that's not to level 14 when you get a fully formed creature that has other stuff it can do.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of these things just feel like, give us some cooler stuff earlier on and streamline out that power curve. Um, More choices aren't bad. Obviously, you can have choice overwhelm, but giving an actual companion who the subclass is based off of a few more things to do each turn, when you get it, it's not a bad thing. and especially not when it's just when the only Beyond strike things it can do is a once a day thing until level 6. So
Yeah, even the aura of power isn't super like it's handy, but I don't think it's all that great either. I mean, that's at level 10, and just the companion gets a 30-foot aura, and it gives you resistance to either fire, necrotic, or radiant. But you do have immunity to charmed and frightened conditions, which is kind of nice. But there are also a bunch of other things that can give that to you. So yeah, I don't know. I really think that this one needs to be reworked a bit.
yeah, again, I like Warlock pet class. I think the
Mm-hmm.
fantasy is really cool. But for a subclass in and of itself, I find it underwhelming.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna do a like a companion, do a companion. Make it cool, make it interesting, let it do more things. If the whole subclass is fully in on it, go in on it.
Yeah.
Make it cool.
Now,
So
everything we said, take it with a grain of salt. This is the very beginning of a UA for brand new stuff for 5th edition. So I'm sure that, in another few weeks, we're going to get the designer feedback and then reworks of these. So hopefully, they kind of have a good idea on, what they want to do, and, we'll be able to update them and make them a lot better because, I mean, I don't know. I'm just,
yeah,
I,
again, bigger swings.
yeah,
Bigger swings. I would rather you swing for the fences and have to pull stuff back a bit than come out with something really meh or really kind of just average and then have to try and figure something else out. I'd
yeah,
rather you just go for the full Monty. It's UA. Balance doesn't necessarily matter as much in UA. You can always pull it back a tad, but mechanically swing for the fences for UA. See what kind of crazy stuff you can get away with or introduce as a mechanic that might be, oh, wow, that sounds super cool. That's probably OP, but we can work with this
yeah.
and still get that cool factor.
Exactly. The good news is that the feedback survey does open on the 22nd of January. So, like with everything, they're going to be taking feedback, reworking it, and hopefully the next one that comes out, they say, we see that this wasn't designed well. Here's a brand new version of it for 3 of the class or 3 of the subclasses. I mean, we're really like kind of crapping all over it and everything like that. Like, it's something new, it's something different, and especially if it's really being introduced and not based off of a previous, subclass from 2014 or something like that. It has to go through a lot of iterations. So, we'll see how it plays out, and hopefully it gets much more improved upon.
I think at the same time too, we're 11 or 12 years into this. I have much higher expectations for
Yeah,
design. Design has come a long way,
but this is a whole
both
new group
official
of
and third
people, to
party.
be fair.
Well, I mean, I don't.
I
I
mean, we were just
highly
singing their
doubt most of
praises, but
those. Yeah, I say I highly doubt most of those people probably worked on this,
yeah,
or touch this one too much, considering most probably just got hired in the last month or two.
yeah.
And
But
again, given the pipeline, things are usually baking for quite a bit longer.
But this
But
is why we have new game designers and everything. So see, there we go.
that's
We're
right.
we're 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 taking those first steps.
That's right. So I'm excited to see what all these new people will bring to the table. Um, and again, I'm excited for these. I
Hmm.
think they have a lot of potential. The fantasy is really good. The mechanics just don't match the fantasies.
Yeah,
So
not yet.
and again, it's UA, but so it's all fixable.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'd love to hear your thoughts as well. So if you take them for a spin or you read the UA, again, we have our wonderful Discord server and the wonderful people on it, and we love talking to people on it as well. So make sure you head over there, and these are great things to have discussions on.
DN discussions.
Ah,
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yes, we should be. Okay, well, whew, that wraps up a month and a half worth of stuff since we have been off air. And obviously, whatever comes out likely on Tuesday, right after we record.
Yep, looking forward to
But
it.
you'll hear about that from us in 2 weeks. That ends up being the case. Um, so before we go and wrap things up, we have not really played much as games are slowly getting started back up. Schedules are starting to free up. We're getting into that back into the groove post holiday January stuff. But one thing I wanted to talk just a little bit about because I was really, really excited about it, and I still am, still got a little bit of that high. Was early December. I had something that our local games store put on called RPG Weekend. And this was like 3 days, or more like 2.5 days, all day Friday, all day Saturday, half a day Sunday of just playing RPGs. And it was one of like my favorite things that I have ever done. Ever, and I will be doing it every year with my game store. Um, so I wanted to kind of just go over a little bit because one of the things we like to do on this podcast, even though it is called DN discussions, is talk about other tabletop RPGs. And we will likely have a few episodes this year that will be more focused on other RPGs. Perhaps even some of the ones that I'm gonna talk about. But we started off. We had just tons of different games you could sign up for. So I tried to pick mostly systems that I had never played. Because almost all the games are very beginner friendly. They kind of teach you as you go. So I started off Friday playing the Marvel Multiverse RPG. Very fun. And I will preface, I had fun at every single one of my games.
That's good.
Uh, every single one of my games was good. Um, the Marvel Multiverse one, the system seemed to be much more combat focused, a little more tactical. Because you can make your own character, but you can also play as the Marvel superheroes, right? So we had like Storm, Captain America, X-23, um, Spider-Man, and Black Widow were our things. So it's a system that I feel like, uh, especially if you're not making your own character, the role play becomes much harder because you have to really know your Marvel characters if you want to be able to actually role play well.
Yeah, I would kind of think so. And I mean, depending on the character, there's years and years and years of content
Yep.
and backstory to kind of go off of.
Yep. So it was a very role play light game, kind of by necessity. But the actual guts of the game were very fun. The combat was fun. A lot of like fun tag team type things you can do. Uh, and I don't think I would ever play like a long campaign of it, but I would definitely play a small collection or one shot again.
And I'm sorry,
100%.
who was your hero?
I was X-23.
Oh,
I
she's
was Laura
great.
Kinney. She was awesome. Uh, Damage powerhouse.
Oh, I bet.
We also got to do fastball specials. That was a thing that you can do. And strong enough characters were able to like throw and do the damage. So yeah, it was very fun. Very, very fun. Uh Scratched the like tactical combat itch for sure.
That's very cool. And also, I'm really glad that you're able to play as Laura because she's a great character.
Fantastic character. Fantastic character. It's been really exciting seeing her in the MCU, and
Hmm.
hopefully we will see more of her in the MCU as
Oh, that'd be
well.
great.
Yep. I loved it. Loved it. Second, I played um, Daggerheart.
Oh, you
I've
finally got a
been
chance to jump
wanting
in.
been wanting to play Daggerheart for quite a while. Our group, it was a fairly big group. I think it was like 6 people, um, and the game master. And the game master did a great job. The group was super fun. I wasn't a huge fan of the system.
Oh,
I
really?
thought I thought the system had a lot of mechanical shortcomings that were that really kind of turned me off to the
Okay.
system itself. Um, just the way they did damage, the way it does initiative, which is there is no initiative. uh, the hope and fear system has some interesting properties. Like there's no like spell slots or anything. You're constantly generating and spending resources. Um, but as we found out, even just in one shot, it is actually possible to starve the game master of resources to be able to use their monsters if you are rolling well enough.
Oh, wow.
You can literally cause them not to be able to play,
Oh, that
which is it's kind of wild, and it's kind of wild that it happened
yeah.
during our one shot, but we literally were rolling well enough that we just were hitting, or we never rolled with fear. um didn't miss a ton, and so his giant dragon that was at the end ended up just being kind of a pinata. A pinata. Um, Again, there's a few interesting good things I like about the system. Some of the tag teaming and stuff you
Mhm.
can do, but because the way the damage scaling works, it basically works as you roll the damage and you do the damage, but then there's thresholds, and then at different thresholds you take either one. So like someone's HP might be 9, right? And then depending on how much damage they get hit with, their threshold for their first thing of damage might be 10, and then 17 for the second one, and like maybe 30 for the third one. And if the attack did 30 damage, that means I take 3 points of health, right?
Yeah.
And so we ran into a lot of situations where we were doing, 60, 70, 80, 90 points of damage, but the enemy just takes 3 damage. And so once you pass that highest damage threshold, anything beyond that doesn't matter. And
Oh.
so it feels really bad to do this cool tag team thing. You spend your hope, you roll a crit, me and the rogue or whatever do 100 damage, and it's like, cool, 3 damage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, something that has been said about Daggerheart, which again, I haven't played it myself, but I mean, from what you're telling me, it kind of seems to fit is that this is really so much more of a narrative driven TTRPG than, combat driven. We talked about gosh, what's that other one that's like very much like strategy and tactics? Dual
Draw
Edge,
steel.
Draw Steel,
Draw
Dual
steel.
Edge. What am I
Yep.
saying? Draw Steel. Yeah. So it's like, you know, from what you're telling me, it really feels like it is so much more RP heavy, which, entirely
It
different
it
kind of
is
game,
it
but it
is,
still
but
needs to
there were
have that
very
that bit of like backup to,
it
facilitate
felt
things like that.
and I mean, it could have just been the one. We were playing level 2 characters. So
Yeah.
there's only 10 levels in Daggerheart. I was equating it to roughly a level 4 D&D character.
Hmm.
Um, it did really feel like we had a lot less to do that we were able to do than a level 4 D&D character might, especially a caster. Um, and it didn't feel like there were a ton of out of combat abilities that you could do, which kind of confused me a little bit, because I had always heard, hey, it's probably a little more RP heavy or whatever. It very much seemed like it was designed as a streamer system,
Okay. I can kind of see
which
that.
kind of makes sense from who it's coming from, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I had fun in the game. The game was fun, but it was more because the group and the game master were fun, not necessarily the system.
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I mean, look, not everything out there is going to be everybody's cup of tea. This one just wasn't yours. And I can see where, once you're used to this system, or, played a whole bunch or are in a campaign, where it can definitely kind of, feel a lot better once you kind of see the ins and outs. I mean, the big caveat for all of these is this was over the course of a weekend. And, you got kind of
Yep.
a bit of a sampling on it. And
Yep.
on top of that too, if the DM isn't super experienced with it, then maybe their balance or whatever wasn't perfect, which is why they weren't able to use certain abilities or something like that in that final fight. So it could be just more learning and everything on everybody's part, than more than just a small one shot.
Yeah, it's quite possible. Like I said, I wouldn't necessarily poo poo or say this is the best thing ever from a one run.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a
Exactly.
system. It's not a system I would probably want to be in a long-term campaign in. But it is a system that I would play again as a one shot.
Okay, cool. Well, if you do get the chance, I would like to hear if you have any more thoughts on it.
Yeah, I intend to try and get another game in next time they run one, just to see how it feels differently. Especially if I can do a higher level
Yeah.
one to see what the differences are. Then we played that evening. We played Bloodborg, which is a spin-off of the Morkborg series. There's also Pirate Borg, which I was really wanting to play, but I was not able to get a game in. Essentially, we built our characters right there at the beginning of the game, fully through dice rolls and the random tables,
Oh.
which was super fun, honestly. And then it was kind of it's very much a like Vampire the Masquerade light
Okay.
type of system. We just had a few abilities, fairly fragile characters. Uh, there was only three of us and the game master, but they did an amazing job, and it was hilariously the funniest game of the weekend. Just in how it
Okay.
there just in the situation is one of those you had to be there, obviously, but in just the situations, it is also very hard to maintain mood in a convention setting, especially if you're trying to go for serious or horror. It's very hard to do that in a convention setting.
Yeah.
But we all had a lot of fun, and I would definitely play that again. That's a system that's not meant for like long-term campaigns or anything. Um, just because you are pretty fragile. But it was a lot of fun, and I loved creating the character, just rolling it up right there, all through random rolls, and then kind of rolling with it based on what came of it.
Well, that sounds like it was a good time then.
Yeah, that was really good time. Next morning, we did Call of Cthulhu, which I've talked a little bit about before. I really like Call of Cthulhu a lot. It's a very fun system. Our storyteller who ran that was it does really well at like creating props and researching like the time period. So
Oh,
this
that's
was set in
cool.
like 1920s Kansas, and so there's all sorts of real things like a town map from that time period. uh he went back and looked up like what the weather was for that week,
Oh.
and yeah, just cool things, little things like that. The Call of Cthulhu system's really fun. It's percentile dice based. Um, so yeah, that was really good. Always have a fun time with Call of Cthulhu, and it was the first time we had an almost full party wipe. At
Oh.
the end, we ended up stopping the Mythos event, but most of us died.
And the
So
thing is I hear
classic,
that.
classic Cthulhu.
Yeah, I hear yeah, Call of Cthulhu is very much if you live like through a few sessions, it is unheard of.
Yeah, that's definitely the that is the less likely option to have
Yeah.
a character that lives more than a few sessions. So we did that one, and then we went to what ended up being my absolute favorite game of the entire weekend. I still think about it to this day.
Oh,
It was supposed to be a Candela Obscura game.
okay.
Unfortunately, something happened, family emergency, and so the GM was not able to attend.
Oh, that's too
So
bad.
I was like, "Oh crap! I'm just not going to be able to play a game that slot because everything's full." But one of my friends ended up adding an extra game of the Magnus Archives.
Oh,
This
I
is
haven't heard of
based
that.
off of Monty Cook's Cipher system. And the Magnus Archives is based off of the podcast, very popular podcast of the audio drama of the same name. You can go listen to them all for free. There's like 200 and some episodes. It's like a horror podcast, which interestingly, I'm not a big horror guy, at least like movies wise and such. I'm completely okay in tabletop RPGs and apparently in audio dramas. I'm just not like a visual horror guy, I guess. So we got lucky. We got the one conference room that was kind of sectioned off from everybody else. And our group was incredible.
Oh, that's
We were
great.
able to maintain the horror mood, and the seriousness with moments of levity and the tension throughout the entire 3.5 4 hour period.
Hmm.
And it was just incredible. Like everyone did such a good job with their RP. It's set in modern times, which is very different than many RPGs that you might end up playing. Um, and the storyteller was just incredible. It was one of those games where we were actually like fully on edge and tense the last 45 minutes to an hour of the game just because of what was going on. And afterwards, my friend who came with me, we sat down for dinner before our last game and we were just like, we need to take like 20 minutes and just kind of like absorb and distill that experience.
Yeah.
Like
Okay, that's really
I
cool.
haven't had that. I have not had that type of experience in a long time. Like that was it was absolutely incredible.
And I
Um,
mean, so one thing that I'll say, and this comes from my experience of doing like D&D game day and stuff like that. They're always a ton of fun. Always have a fantastic time, but it is sometimes kind of hard to really fully immerse yourself in a
yeah,
big room of a whole bunch of tables with a lot of people doing their thing, laughing, cheering, doing stuff like that. So I'm so glad that you're able to have that experience, like in the quiet room, to really immerse yourself, especially in that sort of setting. So that's good. That's awesome. And I'm glad that it added so much more to your experience too.
yeah. It's definitely one of those things. It still would have been good wherever we played it, but the atmosphere makes a massive difference.
Yeah.
It really does. And then we ended that night off with a game called Crisis.
I've heard of that. I haven't, I mean, I haven't
It's
played
actually
much.
it's actually a framework game for scenarios. So there is no DM. Everyone at the table is a DM. And you kind of take
Oh,
turns
okay.
going around. So basically you spend the first 30 or 45 minutes setting up the scenario. You all contribute to it. And then you spend the rest of the time in little like timed intervals, or timed scenes, doing a scene with one or more of the people at the table around the various crises. So
Okay.
it's very interesting. It's a DM's game,
Yeah.
like 100%. Like we were playing at a table of mostly DMs, and you could tell, like like the DM GMs, like that's like a definitely a game they shine because it is you fully make everything up on the spot,
Okay.
pretty much.
Yeah. There
Our
was,
scenario was we're all gods
oh,
and we created a world, and then there were various crises around the world that we had to deal with.
gotcha.
Very
Okay.
cool.
Yeah. There was, gosh, forever ago. So the Giant Bombcast had a it was like a winter special episode or whatever where they played something similar to that. I forget the exact game that they had, but it sounds very similar where everybody just kind of like walking through what happens with different scenarios, and they did a heist. So everybody had their, like kind of their scenes, and they kind of worked together with it and stuff. So it sounds similar to kind of what you're talking about. And I love the idea of a bunch of DMs getting together to just really like definitely yes and kind of boost up storytelling with that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was a great palate cleanser type thing after the incredible honed in seriousness of Magnus.
Yeah.
It ended up being just what we needed. So it was a lot of fun.
Well,
And then
good.
finally, we on Sunday we did Stormlight Archive or Cosmere RPG, which the system is great. It's a very solid system mechanically. It has some really interesting progression things too. Your character progression is like a talent tree
Oh,
rather than specific specific things that you just take, right? And it's one of the first games I've ever seen that has that. That's more of like a video game design. And so it was one of the first systems I've ever seen that had that type of progression design. So very, very cool. Mechanically, if you've played D&D, you'll be able to pick it up pretty quickly. But the one caveat beyond it being very fairly mechanically solid is it is very much Brandon Sanderson.
yeah.
If you do not know Brandon Sanderson, I would have a hard time recommending it to you just because so much of that system is world and lore,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what the system is made for. It is made for the Cosmere or Brandon Sanderson's world or cosmology, because they're bringing in Mistborn as well. Currently, it's Stormlight Archive. Um, but if you do know Sanderson, it's very good, very fun RPG.
No, very good. I know that when that was announced, I haven't read any Brandon Sanderson, so I apologize. But I know
Highly recommend.
you were hugely excited, and I was excited for you. So I'm glad that you got a chance to kind of jump in and definitely dabble around with that as well. So good.
Yeah, yeah,
It
it
sounds like
was
it was a very successful weekend overall, and you got to play some
it's
really
an
great
yeah,
stuff.
it's an incredible weekend. I've got a list of ones I want to play that I didn't get to play. Mothership, which is like an alien thing. There is an actual alien RPG that sounds like it'd be super fun. Pirate Borg. Obviously, you play pirates and you die a lot and make a bunch of new characters that are pirates too. That sounds cool. Outgunned is one I want to try out. It's basically like a action heavy James Bond, Uncharted, Tomb Raider, like cinematic movie
Oh, that's cool.
RPG, which sounds really cool. Delta Force Green, Triangle Agency, which is like a kind of like an X Files, but The Office,
Okay,
which
yeah,
sounded amazing.
I would try that out.
Yeah, yeah, and then Brindlewood Bay, where you play as old ladies trying to solve a murder mystery.
You know what? I'm all for that too. You know what? I
It
wouldn't mind
sounded
getting
super
my
fun.
Jessica Fletcher on.
Yeah. So yeah, like I'm very excited to go back. There's a ton of stuff I want to play. It's a great way to immerse yourself in other tabletop RPGs, because even if you're just more of a like one game person,
Hmm.
like a D&D or a Pathfinder or Draw Steel or Daggerheart, whatever. It's good to get exposure to other things because they can give you cool experiences and or cool ideas to bring back to your games
Yep,
as well.
exactly.
So variety is the spice of life. So anytime you get the opportunity to do it, highly recommend grabbing it, because there's a lot of cool games out there and a lot of really cool people, and was really fun to get to experience both.
Very cool. I'm happy for you and also jealous.
I need you to come down and visit me during RPG weekend.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Okay.
We'll make it happen. With that, that is going to be the end of our first episode of the year. Thank you so much, everybody, for hopping back on the train with us. The train will be back on time-ish as always.
And back on track.
Yeah, back on track. We'll be putting our episodes again every 2 weeks or so. Really excited for this next year of content. Lots to talk about. Just around RPGs, around new content for D&D, around interviews. Hopefully we'll get some cool people on as well. So very excited. But until then, Ben, why don't you tell everyone where we can be reached?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. Or, since I kind of had to help you along through the intro, if you want to do the ending, it's up to you. I mean, we could just try it out for an episode, see how it goes, or you know what, I'll just jump in and do it. So thank you.
I love how you worked yourself through that and then convinced yourself.
Well, I mean, the look of just terror on your face, I'm just like, oh no, I'll take care of this. So
like, it's too late for this. You can't do this to me.
Yeah. So as you know, we talked about a lot of different news bits and everything. Ryan talked a lot about just different games that he's played. One thing we didn't talk about was what we've been doing, because we went through a hiatus and stuff, but that doesn't mean we don't want to still hear what your games have been up to. So if you want to share those with us, you can always email us at dndiscussions@gmail.com. Love to hear from you. If there's anything that you really want to, tell us that, you noticed in the AMA that where the answer wasn't, we're working on the back end of D&D Beyond, let us know. Maybe we'll bring it up as a topic for the future, or, give our ideas on things that, even more so that we'd like to see, something along those lines. If you don't want to send us an email because, that's like 2010 or something like that, you can always reach out to us on our Discord, which the great thing is you can find a link to that Discord so that you can join us on dndiscussions.com. You can hop in, join our community, ask questions, talk about a bunch of stuff. We had a couple really good discussions going on over our break, asking for advice, or, kind of walking through situations. People asking, is this what you would do as a DM, the things like that, just kind of, keep that discussion going. We've got a great community, lots of welcoming people. So we always recommend it. So dndiscussions.com will have a link to our Discord, as well as links to our Blue Sky accounts. If you'd like to follow us on social media, check out DN Discussions on Blue Sky. Also, Ryan himself is at TBKZord. I am at Ben Bumhofer. You can find me there. If you're sitting here thinking, gosh, this is the first episode I've ever heard, and what do these guys know about Dungeons and Dragons? I bet they don't even play. Well, I mean, there's no evidence because we didn't tell you what happened in our games. But if you want to hear me play some Dungeons and Dragons, you can check out Plus 5 to Hit. It's an actual play podcast where I am playing a barbarian for the first time, and it's a lot of fun. So check that out and find us there. As for the show, D&D Discussions, thank you everybody for all of your support. It's been absolutely fantastic, especially talking to people in our community and knowing that you enjoy what we do. So, thank you for all that support. Ryan, I miss talking to you, in a recording kind of way. And
I so have to.
Yeah, it's great. I can't wait till we get back into our games, because I've got new ideas that I just came up with today that I'm really excited of kind of touching on, and more so of what's coming up in my game. I can't wait to share that. And you're one of the few people who actually knows, because as we always say, find yourself a DM friend so that you can kind of co-conspire and bounce ideas off of.
Yep.
Yeah. But with that, thank you very much for listening, everybody. And until next time, roll high and be good to each other.
Take care, and we'll see you soon.